It's all good. Whatever you want is fine with me. It's my.
No,
It is
fine.
totally my thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I should have turned my thing, whatever. It's all good. My phone is out now telling me everything that's happening, but it's all good.
Okay.
Good. You don't see anything on your end when my phone starts doing the stuff.
No, not at all. Not at all. I just see your lovely face.
I see your lovely face.
So I've literally just seen the news about California. So gosh, this really is quite a timely blab, isn't it?
Yeah, I was out walking. I go walk in the desert and the aqueduct, and it's just beautiful there. And a lot of times I'll scope with people and have fun with people, and we talk about different things while we're scoping. And one of our regulars, Matt, he was like, "Did you hear about San Bernardino?" And I was like, "No." And so and then I just got home and I was watching some of that. I immediately thought, Melanie, it's like it's kind of. It's a combination of things. People, I believe very strongly that our outer world is the reflection of our inner world, no matter what. I just believe that I look at my life, I see the outer world is a reflection of my inner world. And also as a mass consciousness, we also have an inner world that's going on that's reflecting an outer world. And I thought of it right away. And I thought, well, in some way, I hate to say this, but how perfect that this happened before we're going to have this conversation.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, just for anyone joining us, I know what you mean by when we say our inner world reflects our outer world, but, to kind of people just kind of joining us to think, oh, well, what does Max mean by that?
Well, let me tell you a little bit about myself and my background first. So I am a spiritual teacher, a coach, and I'm also an intuitive. And I have been studying spirituality, and I've been very connected to spirit since I was a very little boy. When I say that, I mean knowing things other people didn't know, very connected from a very early age, probably from about 1.5 or 2 years old. We don't have enough time about that story, but knowing that I'm connected to every single thing that there is. So I could feel everything. I knew that what it was, and now I have studied many, I was growing up Catholic. But then I was raised in a lot of different faiths, and I studied lots of different faiths. But I studied mostly something called the Course in Miracles. And the Course in Miracles is not a religion. It is a spiritual mind study that helps us to move from fear to love and to remember that only love is real. Just like my shirt says, that only love is real. And that might sound very woohoo to a lot of people, but it is not woohoo at all. It is actually to have the faith and to understand that what's really going on is that there's only two things in the world. There's love, or there's a call for love. And that's the only thing that's happening. When you really understand that, then you go, oh, I see it. It's a call for love. So coming back to what we're talking about here, the world, this is what I believe, the world is kind of a blank slate. We've come here and we're creating. We cannot stop creating. We're always creating. We're creating relationships. We're creating products. We're creating, everything through energy all the time. And you look at anyone that's watching this, is that you've created your life. You have created the life that you have, no matter what. There's been bumps up of other energies sometimes, but at the same time, you have created the outside world from what is happening inside of you on some level. Your dreams, your goals, your fears, all somehow do manifest in your life and if you really were honest and looked at it, you'd be like, yeah, that's true. So that's what I mean by that.
Yeah.
It's a big concept, but it's hard to just say it in a little blabbable tweet, but or a blab, I guess I would call it a blab instead of a tweet.
Blabbable.
It's blabbable. But I mean, does that make sense? I mean, I know it makes sense to you, but it's hard to explain that to other people without spending, a little while talking about it.
Okay, well, I've one of the books that I refer to time and time again, and is Think and Grow Rich, the Napoleon Hill book. And it's not just about it's not really anything to do with it. Well, it is partly, but it's kind of about abundance in all forms. But actually, one of the chapters is actually on fear, and they talk about the 6. Have you read the book, Max?
Of course, yeah.
I'm sure you have. Yeah, silly question. So,
no, it's all good.
And one of the chapters about the six ghosts of fear, and so I just kind of quickly just refreshed myself on it because I always remembered this story, and it took us back to because obviously this book was written in the 1930s, and they talk about the flu epidemic that occurred. It must have been before the book was written. And I find this when there is flu epidemics, or there's kind of, when you hear that this big flu strain has come along, and all of a sudden everybody's ill and the pharmaceuticals go crazy, telling people you must take our drug, and then the fear is just kind of like perpetuates. And if you don't take this drug, you are going to die, you will catch the flu. So what it was saying in this book was during this flu epidemic, the mayor of New York City took action steps against the newspapers and said, look, do not publish anything about the flu. He says here, I feel it's necessary to ask you not to publish any more scare headlines concerning the flu. And I just think it's so true. So within a month, the flu epidemic had gone, and this has been going on for months and months, I think. And it's just so true. I find how the media just kind of perpetuates this whole fear. So that's just an example of health, and that could be a whole different topic in itself about fear and illness. But here, obviously, we're talking,
Well, it's the perfect example of how we do create what we focus on. That we do create it. And we also, one of the lessons in A Course in Miracles, and this is really important. To me, this is so important this time, between what's happened in the Middle Eastern countries, what's happened in Africa, what's happened in Paris, what's happening all over the world, these tragedies. Not just Paris, lots of places are having...
Lots of places that aren't being reported. That's
right. All of these things on some level are an effect of this, I don't know, there's an effect of self-hatred, there's an effect of, but it's also, we have to really understand this was my point, is that we create whatever we defend against, and that's so important to understand. That is totally from A Course in Miracles, and a lot of people would always be like, okay, well, we better fight them. We better make sure that we stop that. But we create more of it because, just exactly like that story says, it's a perfect example. When we say, oh my God, no more flu, we're going to have the flu. We're going to create an epidemic and a pandemic and a craziness that it could have been just a little tiny thing. And then what happens? Mass consciousness starts to say, oh boy, this is what we're going to do. So I believe if you're listening to this blab right now, you're probably a little like, wait a second, there must be another way to deal with this. Right?
Yeah.
Do you think about that?
Yeah. The thing is, when it comes to, now I'm a very different, now I wish I could say my spiritual path started when I was 2, but it didn't. It came a lot later for me.
Oh, good.
Yeah, absolutely. But I remember being kind of that fearful person. Oh gosh, when kind of in my late teens, kind of going through exams, and I went through a terrible phase of just worrying, and I had insomnia for years just through hours of worrying at nighttime over things that inevitably didn't happen. But, I think when I kind of hit, about 10 years ago, so before that, when I hit 30, it was just, actually probably a bit before that, something changed. I don't know what, but then slowly, as I've evolved over time, the fear just dissolves as kind of more chaos kind of comes along. It just has dissolved. But I guess that's just come through from, reading and, being exposed to the right teachers at the right time. So I would say, but I know there are so many people who are living in terror.
Terror.
In
terror.
Fear of not wanting to... and I think there is a difference between being cautious and being fearful. Would you say there is a difference between caution and fear?
Yes, there is. There is, I think that is because, I believe very strongly. It's like we literally were given a brain and intelligence and rational thinking skills by the Creator. Whatever you call that, I don't really care. Of course I care, but I don't care. Whatever you call that. We were given that so we could use that, and caution is taking fear and saying, what do we do with it? How do we, I think it's kind of like it's the way of being smart. It's a survival technique to be cautious, but to stay in fear keeps us gripped in its grip. It keeps us stuck. It keeps us caged, and it keeps us separated from what we really do want. What we really do want is healing, and what we really do want is peace. If we stay in the fear, we won't get the peace. So I think that's a really good thing, Melanie. I think that it's true. Caution is really a good thing, and you need some intelligence to have a little caution.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you don't tell your children just to, right, kids, you know, the universe is looking after you. Just walk in front of a car and you'll be fine.
That's kind of true metaphysically, but you don't really tell kids that.
No. So what advice would you give to that person? You know, so that person who's kind of thinking, oh my God, you know, they're going to come and get us, you know, that they're out to get us. There's all these awful things happening in the news, you know, and I guess in the States, it's, you know, very different from it is here. Let's use the example in California today, and with kind of the gun issue that's kind of out there. Now, I don't want to get into a gun debate or anything like that, but you know, we don't have that issue here. Touch wood, you know, it's not unheard of, but very
thank God.
Very different laws. But I can only imagine that if you're living in a country where there is, you know, it seems to be every week some big gun incident in a school or in a shopping mall or in a cinema or wherever. As a parent, you know, I can imagine. I know I've heard on the news here that there's kind of all these, but I think, and this just sounds awful to me, beyond comprehension. They're teaching children, you know, these kind of like drills at school where if a mad gunman comes in, we run or we lock ourselves. There's, you know, or play dead, whatever they're telling the kids have to do. My God, how scary must that be for a 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old? You know, I can't even comprehend that my children would have to do something like that here.
Yes. You know, this, you know, it's hard not to have the gun conversation, I have to say. Yeah. It's hard not to, because I wrote a couple of notes down before we...
If you want to, go for it, because I'm not
going to talk about that exactly, but I'm going to talk about it in the bigger picture.
Yeah.
We do need to look at... We have... I don't know if you know about this, but, you know, in 2014 and 15, they've done all these psychological studies. And, you know, they always do them every year. But do you know what the one aspect of the human existence that has skyrocketed over the last, like, 5 or 6 years? Loneliness.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
People are more lonely. They are more isolated. They feel more disconnected. They feel more separated. This does come to the gun issue on some level, because when you feel lonely, when you feel isolated, when you feel separate, when you have a culture that is completely, I don't know how it is in other places, but to me, this is my personal point of view. You can say I'm full of crap or whatever. My personal point of view is I look around and I see a culture of violence, even though in day-to-day you don't see the violence, but the violence is used as a way to escape the reality world. So they're on these violent things all the time, and then there are guns available. I think that there is, you know, it's not a... there's no mistake. There's no mistake that the guns, and then this loneliness, and then having a culture where you're always going to video games that are... But the fact is that most people that play video games aren't going to shoot people up. But... there's an underlying, remember what I was saying? The inside creates the outside. The more inside that you have this feeling of I can just get rid of things. I can get rid of things. That will somehow come out on some level. It really will. Just like the more you meditate, the more you pray, the more you're connected with yourself and your whatever you call your creator, the more you're just flow through life. And things can happen to you and you're like, yeah, okay, you're all good. Because you feel connected, you feel peaceful. Yes. These 3 people that went into this thing today, these 3 people, I guarantee you, are not meditating every day. And, you know, so ultimately, but let me just say this. I went off on a tangent.
No. Yeah, it's all relevant. Yeah.
The most important thing to me, what I say to people, is to take responsibility for your vibration.
Yes.
Your vibration is the most important thing. That's the only thing that we can do. We can't change the world, but we can change our vibration, and that will change our children, and that will change, and then it becomes like a mushroom effect. You have to instead of sitting in front of the television and watching that news over and over and over.
Yeah.
You have to say, okay, there it is. I see it. My father's in the other room right now. He's watching it over and over and over and over. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Now now it is our responsibility to see that it's a call for love, and many times it's a call to love ourselves.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. I completely and utterly agree with you. And so kind of what's the answer? What's the answer? How I say it's frustrating. It's not, because it's not my job to fix the world. And again, that is the answer. It does begin with me, with you, and that hopefully, and the ripples affect. Then they just
and
go out.
There's also action. I mean, reacting to things or responding. Two different things.
Yeah.
In these kind of situations, people tend to react. They don't respond. That comes back to your caution thing, I think.
Yeah.
You respond because you're like, what is the best thing to do for myself, for everyone here? That might be, we need to have a big, huge peace march. That might be whatever it happens to be. We're definitely not asked to just sit here and do nothing. We're asked to, this is a call for love. What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Well, we had peaceful demonstrations in London yesterday. So that was good. It was lovely to see that people had gone out to make their point, but in a peaceful way. There wasn't kind of any violence, and I saw it in the news. People just kind of like, please, guys, just make the right decisions. We don't know the outcome of that vote yet. Who knows? I actually went. I had one of those days today where I had so much to do, but actually I decided to go off to a meditation morning, and we had a big gong healing session.
Nice.
And it was amazing. And there was about 20 of us in the room, and we were all asked to, have the intention of peace. And I thought, yes, this is where I need to be this morning, just to kind of just center myself and get back into that peaceful state. And so that was, even despite everything else going on, 101 things I had to do, for me, that was actually more important to do that. I'll just be up till about 2 o'clock in the morning catching up, but never mind. So somebody here has put the question, Blackouts box. Is this subconsciousness, or is there an agenda of fear put forth by any group?
Well,
that's a good question.
What do you think? What do you think, Melanie?
I don't know. We could start getting all kind of controversial here, can't we? So I don't know.
Go ahead, go for it.
I don't know. I don't know so much, because I'm not hugely political. I kind of follow the news to an extent that I am aware of what's going on in the world, but I don't immerse myself in politics. I try not to be ignorant about issues, but I don't want to, I just don't want it to kind of, I'd rather be kind of sending out peaceful vibes rather than analysing it too much. But I know certainly kind of in the area that I'm interested in, of health and healthcare and wellness, I think there is definitely an agenda to keep people sick, to keep people unwell, and to keep, in terms of chronic diseases, which could very easily be treated with good nutrition and supplements and meditation and all this stuff, that there are many conditions that people are being kept chronically, they're not being cured, they're just on drugs for life. So in health, and we don't have it here, but I believe in the States you have you're allowed to advertise for drugs, aren't you? For
jeez, let me tell you, it's crazy. Probably about 20 years ago, they started, maybe 15 years. It's like, and it's horrible.
And all I can think is, and I've seen some of these ads, but fortunately, it's illegal over here. You cannot, you can't. I think you can advertise.
Well, that's the
paracetamol, flu remedies, but not antidepressants, and
erectile dysfunction. I mean, it's like crazy. It's crazy. They're like, if you start going blind, and literally these things that you're like, why do I need to know that? And you shouldn't be pushing this on people. It's all crazy. I know.
It is crazy. So let me ask you.
this question of
Yes, take it. I'm sending it back to you. That question.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say it. I'm not gonna say. This is what I'm gonna say. Michael, I know blackout. So we could go into crazy land of going. There's the Illuminati, and then there's these people, and then George Bush, and they and them, and they have.
And they got pointy ears.
Yeah. And listen, I am a real cynic too. Let me tell you, I'm very cynical, and I'm interested in all of that stuff. But what's more important, if that's true or not true, if there is this big conspiracy theory to keep the masses in fear, which on some level there has been proof of that. First of all, the medical thing. Second of all, you can really say that about the Catholic Church, whatever. So keeping people in fear so they can control them. That is, but what's more important is what we do in our own life. So if are we going to buy into that fear? Are we going to do that Gandhi quote? Will we be the change we want to see in the world? I think the biggest, kind of the agenda for fear for me is that all of us have an ego in ourselves. And that ego is the thing that thinks without love, that's always going, the world's a horrible place, you're not good enough, you need to lose your 10 pounds, other people are horrible, and those Syrians are really trying to rip you off, and those refugees are going to, all of that, those voices, that's the voice we need to deal with, I think, first.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah. And so what tools or techniques would you use to kind of recommend people just to, firstly, just calm down, calm down?
There's so many. I always say that probably, and it's so cheesy. I'm telling you, some of the most effective things are the cheesiest and the simplest.
Yeah.
Is to breathe.
Yeah.
It's huge. You know this to be true with your tapping and working with people. When you breathe, your brain waves change.
Yeah.
When you breathe right now, you go, there's something that shifts. And that's the first thing, to keep remembering to breathe. Yeah. And there's a lot of things. But literally taking 5 to 10 minutes to shut up every day. Yeah. I don't know what that is. If it's running, if it's meditating, if it's gardening, to get yourself so you're not thinking about anything. You're just being in the moment. It takes practice, but that will start to invade your whole life. Yeah. And you will start to feel more peaceful and more peaceful. And the more peaceful people that we have, the more peaceful planet.
Now, do you think, even kind of slightly off topic, but when we talk about things of collective consciousness and collective fear, that this could then even in turn affect things like, natural disasters and,
yes,
earthquakes? And because, sometimes I think about, let's take San Francisco as an example. We know it lies on the San Andreas Fault. I remember this from my geography lessons. Actually, that, I shouldn't say. I feel like, I feel bad for saying it now, but you kind of wonder when people kind of live in an area where there is kind of seismic activity, near a volcano or anything like that. It really seems really harsh and unfair to say, well, you kind of thought it into existence because you all feared it collectively. But kind of what are your thoughts on that?
Well, let me, you're talking about like blaming people for making a choice to live in a place where you could die.
I don't really know where I'm going with this, but it's just, again, it's that whole kind of collective consciousness thing, Yeah. But then, yeah, where am I going with
first
this?
of all, I kind of get what you're saying. It's kind of like, maybe this is, I don't know. Are you saying it's like that question? They're like, so the little kid that got cancer, he chose that? Is that what you're saying? But you're saying it on a big conscious level.
Yes,
right.
Yeah. I'm not saying this, it's just a question, just a thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that it's that there is collective consciousness. There is. And I believe very strongly that the collective consciousness is the thing that probably will end up saving us.
Yes.
And ultimately it's been now, this is my point of view, but I believe that now we're starting to see how the collective consciousness has been asleep for so long and been like, and now we're seeing all of this craziness. But we're also seeing that we can completely shift that by another collective consciousness. That's what I think. That's sort of, I don't know.
Well, we're both taking part in the global meditation scope, which it looks like it's really gaining momentum this time. And, more and more people are becoming involved, and which I think is just amazing if as many people could get involved in this as possible. So this is the 12th to 13th of December, and I think it's a Periscope event, but there seems to be some other kind of global meditation event going on that weekend.
There's on 12/12, there's a 12/12 at 12 or something like that.
Right, yeah. So that seems to me like a day where actually, and the good thing about Global Meditation Scope is, people coming to Periscope, maybe they've never heard of meditation. They think, let's join in. So this, is a perfect day. And, and the more people that do this, let's just kind of, let's raise the vibration and the consciousness in a new direction, because we can do this, but there's strength in numbers, and we kind of really, it's not a one-man job, it's a real collective effort. So it's kind of a plea really to everybody out there, find peace within yourselves and it will reflect in the outer world, just as Max said at the beginning of this book.
I believe that's so true, and I think that you're noticing it really. The global meditation scope is a reflection of this mass consciousness shifting. That couldn't have happened, 10 years ago. People wouldn't have done that, I'm old, so I've been around for a long time. There was something called the harmonic convergence years ago. There was there are all these different things, but now the ability to connect with so many people with one idea is amazing, and one vibration is amazing. So I think this could really be, not global meditation scope, but this and things like this of seeing, because what happens is we start to believe the freaking news.
Yes.
That most people are fearful, and it's a horrible world. But the truth is, how many people do you know that were killed in something horrible? How often does it really happen? Shit happens in life, but most of the time you're living and you're breathing and you're loving on some level. But so now we can be reminded of that as on a mass scale. It's really fantastic. I love it. So good.
Absolutely, yeah. I stopped watching the news a long time ago as well. So this is just Blackout Box just commented. Yeah, I barely watch TV anymore unless it's going to, entertain me or make me laugh. I just not. And funnily enough, since Periscope has kind of come along, I tune into the people I want to watch, the people who inspire me, the people who uplift me, and the people I follow, the alerts. I know it's going to be something interesting, something of value, and I get to choose what I watch.
I love that too.
Rather than the shit that's churned out at us. It's just, and
we buy into it. Yeah, that's exactly right. We buy into it. I have a little bit. I love Max. He's going to be a media time. Thank you, Michael. So here's the deal. This is what I think. I have a little bit of a different view about that, not watching the news. You want to hear it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a little different view because I do believe that we are here to love and support and guide and to be there for ourselves and everyone else. So I believe that, as I said before, everything is love or a call for love. So when we don't look at the things that are happening, I believe then you're living in a fantasy land that's not even reality. Yeah. You're just trying to be like, no, I'm not saying
no. What I'm saying,
but I think it's
no. I don't need to say rolling 24 hours. That's what I mean by. I will find out the headlines, and I have a little news alert, so it tells me something that's happened. Yeah. But that's it.
I know you wouldn't do that.
No.
But those people. What the people do that? People that are like, I'm never going to do that. I'm only positive. I'm only doing positive things. I'm a positive person. I don't look at all those things. I don't do that. You're like, that's not good. That's not good. You have to see the world. And because the world, the contrast, the things that are horrible, help us to get clarity about love, about help, and about joy, and about how you can be there to help people. So it's really important. I think it's really important too. You just have to be really, you just have to be clear about how you watch the news and what news you watch. That's all. That's what I think.
And
not blinders, but focused towards joy. Seems news is fear porn. Yeah, it is. It is. It loves fear. The ego loves fear. Sorry, Melanie, what were you going to say?
No. So I'm just reading the comments here. No, sorry, Lisa Nichols UK. They're just about to announce the result. I think it's out of the British government and whether or not we're going to be bombing.
Oh wow!
This weekend, so that probably will come up as an alert on my phone. But oh my God, that was it. The BBC News alert. I shall tell you.
Okay. Yeah, tell us.
Let's see. Do you know, my heart's actually racing.
Yeah.
This is. Let's see. It hasn't come up on my phone just yet. I can hear my iPad.
Live as it happens.
I can hear my iPad bleeping in the background, but so at least in favour. Oh shit, we're going in. Well, that's not what I wanted. Not at all. I'm actually really I'm gutted, really gutted, but I don't know. Well, we shall see.
Well, to me, I think there's only one answer, and obviously, I feel the same way as you. I believe in prayer.
Yeah.
I believe in prayer. I believe in, like we were saying, mass consciousness, collective consciousness. I believe in that to the utmost, and I believe that this is a time for prayer. This is a time to go in, to connect with the people that have to do whatever the job it is, to keep them in the light, keep us in the light. And you know what? Ultimately, that's just a vote. Miracles are happening. It's just a vote. You have no idea what's going to happen, because then this is what happens. The ego starts going, but then we're going to be in war, and then this is going to happen, and then this, and then that's what's happening in this moment.
Then they're going to,
right. No. So we need to just stay here present. That's our responsibility. Stay here present and say, what's the reality? The reality is that this is a call for love. So we start generating more love within ourselves on some level. I don't know.
Yeah. Now, Max, have you ever done tapping before?
I have, definitely.
Because there was some tapping, and I ran a workshop, it must have been about a year or so ago, and actually we ended the workshop with a round, and it must have been something similar happening in the world. So I did a round of tapping for world peace, but actually it was focusing on our own inner peace, so about feeling at peace. I was wondering if maybe there's something we could do together, just to kind of bring some peace to the people watching this, and anyone who watches a replay.
I'm all about it. Well, you want to do tapping? I'll just follow along with you, and you can just go along, because I'm not sure. It's been a while since I tapped, but I will go along with you. You gotta do
all right.
I don't remember all the points, so you have to guide me. I like it.
So those who are now, I did a tapping blab last night, and what I explained to people was, when we are tapping, so we're going to do this for kind of inner peace, but have your own issues, anything that's going on, anything that feels in turmoil in your life, have that at the forefront as you're tapping on my words. And then maybe afterwards, Max, I don't know, maybe a short, little,
and then
mini something.
After we're done with it, I was going to say, then can we do a prayer?
Yeah, perfect. That would be wonderful.
We'll do the tapping, then we'll do a prayer.
Tapping, then a prayer. Lovely. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. So, okay. So let's go. I'm just going to see what I download, what comes in, and okay. So we start off here, which is the karate chop point, and everyone just follow along with us. I'll just show a couple of the points which are a bit out of camera shot. So these are the ones on my face, eyebrow, side of the eye, under the nose, chin. We've got collarbone, which is about there, underarm, which is out of earshot, eye out of screenshot, and then top of the head. So I think you should see all the others. So so please just tap along with us, and just so we all feel a bit more peaceful, and that we can then ripple that out to our families, our communities, and wherever else that needs it. Okay.
Am I repeating after you, or just doing it along with you?
Entirely up to you. If you repeat after me, then if I do it first, then you repeat after me, and then people repeat at the same time. Yeah.
So I'll be the audience.
Yes. Yeah.
Sounds great. I'll do whatever you want.
You're my parrot.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay. Right. I choose to feel at peace.
I choose to feel at peace.
And I choose to deeply and completely love and accept myself.
And I choose to deeply and completely love and accept myself.
I choose to feel at peace.
I choose to feel at peace.
And I choose to love and forgive myself.
And I choose to love and forgive myself.
I choose to send peace.
I choose to send peace
to all those that need it.
To all those that need it.
But I choose to remember most of all.
But I choose to remember most of all.
That peace begins with me.
That peace begins with me.
Okay, I'll just move through the points. I choose to feel at peace.
I choose to feel at peace.
Side of the eye, I am peace.
I am peace.
Under the eye, I choose to radiate peace.
I choose to radiate peace.
I choose to be at peace.
I choose to be at peace.
Releasing all fear from my body.
Releasing all fear from my body.
Collarbone, releasing all stress from my body.
Releasing all stress from my body.
Under the arm, releasing all irrational thoughts from my body.
Releasing all irrational thoughts from my body.
As I choose to focus on peace. Top of the head, as I choose to focus
As I choose to focus on peace.
Eyebrow, I am peace.
I am peace.
Side of the eye, I am love.
I am love.
I am calm.
I am calm.
Releasing all remaining fear.
Releasing all remaining fear.
Chin, as I choose to be calm.
As I choose to be calm.
Collarbone, remembering that peace begins with me.
Remembering that peace begins with me.
Sending love and light to all who need it.
Sending love and light to all that need it.
And I choose to feel at peace.
And I choose to feel at peace.
In body, mind, and spirit.
In body, mind, and spirit.
Take a nice deep breath. Okay. Now, something like that could be just a really quick way of just kind of just centering yourself and calming down and trying not to fall asleep.
That was beautiful.
Thank you, Max. So,
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So, and I think when we are feeling fearful like this, I don't know. Have you heard of a guy called Brad Yates?
Of course, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brad, yeah. I've met him a few times. Brilliant guy. He actually has a tapping YouTube tapping script for tapping for world peace or tapping for when
I love that.
there's crappy stuff in the news. So let's find that. You know, I'll post a link to that because he's just great.
That's good. That's great.
Because it does, and he says it does. It begins within ourselves, and if we're kind of feeling that there is no point running around and, you know, let's all get crazy, mad and scared. Let's just do something like that for ourselves and calm down, and the ripples will go out. So, God, could you imagine if everybody in the world did that? Yes,
I can imagine that.
Yes,
I can.
Yes.
I can. Yesterday was the day of silence in New York City. I was bummed I didn't get to be there. So
yeah. Oh, how lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would love.
Should we do a prayer?
Yes.
All right. All right, everyone. So just close your eyes. Take a big deep breath. Dear Mother, Father, God, Divine Source, Universe, all that is, we come together today with open hearts, open minds, and an open spirit. We allow today to be a time of love and support and guidance for every single person here. And in this moment, we reflect on the world We see the pain. We see the tragedy. We see the disillusionment and loneliness in the world and in ourselves. We feel that pain. We feel our brothers and sisters and ourselves in pain, suffering, and in this moment, we choose to see a beautiful light healing every pain and seeing all the separations healed and whole, taking all that pain, all that suffering, and holding them up to the light, holding them up to a beautiful altar where everything goes back to love, goes back to peace. For we go to the altar to be altered in this moment. And we take a big deep breath. And we say, thank you so much for all the love in our lives. We thank you so much for all the peace that is in our lives. We thank you so much for all the love and the incredible support that is in the world, that is within people. And we are always reminded that everything in our lives and in the world is either love or a call for love. And we respond accordingly. A call for love does not require an attack. A call for love requires compassion and love. We take another deep breath. Seeing this world full of light and healed and whole and perfect. And we say, thank you very much. And so it is. Amen.
So it is. Amen.
Mm.
Thank you. That's
Welcome.
wonderful.
Yeah, prayer changes your vibration. Tapping changes your vibration. It's all about your vibration. And if everybody is shifting their vibration all the time, it can't help but change things.
Yeah, absolutely. So, that's just amazing. So thank you everybody for joining us in this prayer and the scope.
Where are we? What are we doing? What day is it?
And
this was great.
Yeah. Oh God, don't underestimate the power of the power of this and the power of what we've just done and talking about this, but just extend this out into your own lives and your consciousness and the people around you, and just so it's just wonderful. So we need to keep more lanterns burning during the long stormy night.
And that lantern is our spirit. Never let that die. I always say this. Always have a childish enthusiasm for life on some level. Always have that going. Go ahead.
Yeah, don't forget that big fires can spark from little lanterns. So
that's right.
We can spread that light. It doesn't have to remain a little lantern. We can
beautiful.
Yeah, extend that to
totally
all who need it. So,
thank you. That was really great. It was really fun.
It's been wonderful blabbing with you, and I'm sure we'll do it again another time. Just been lovely, really nice talking to you. And everyone else, thank you so much for joining us.
And thank you for all you do, Melanie. You're a light. You are a light in the world. You're such a light.
Oh, Max, thank you. That's really kind. And you too. I have to tell you, completely off topic, very funny story. So I was doing the prosperity chant with you, and which I only caught the first of those. It was just happened to be at the right time. I was in the house, and great, I'll watch that. Hadn't done it. So then I found the chant, the Shreem Brizzy. So I found this YouTube audio, and I've been doing it at night. And this morning I overslept, so I thought, do you know what? I'm going to have to kill two birds with one stone. I'm going to have to do it in the shower. Shreem Brizzy in the shower. Anyway, my 8-year-old daughter walks in on me with Shreem Brizzy coming through YouTube, and she just took one look at me, Mum, in the shower. Mum, you're weird. I'm going to tell Max that little story tonight.
I love it. Hi, mother is so weird.
She is, but no, she's quite weird herself, so that's all good.
You looked at her and you're like, I don't say you're weird when you do half the things you do.
Yeah, exactly. So come on, Bonnie, chant with me. Come on, Shreem. See? So anyway, I'm glad we've ended on a light-hearted note.
Totally.
And yeah, lovely. And I will see you on Periscope very soon.
Okay, Max. For sure. And if anyone wants to see more of you on Periscope, I'm at Max Ryan Coach. Same thing. And then
absolutely.
And yes, my website is attractpositiveresults.com. Just so you all know.
Attractpositiveresults.com for Max, melaniebundock.com for me. And just Max is fabulous. If you're not following Max already, please do. Best scopes, amazing scopes, lots of varied content, just brilliant. So please go and follow him.
And thanks for you kind of de-virginized my blab the other day, but this was the real one. So I'm honored.
Oh, you're welcome. It's brilliant. Thank you very much. See you soon, Max. Take care.
Okay, bye everyone. Thank you.